a tale transcending time, a journey between sleep and wakefulness. The mystery of the seven sleepers, hidden in the dark recesses of a cave in Ephesus. They slept for 300 years as if time itself had stopped and trapped them in an eternal silence. So who were these seven sleepers? Why did they sleep for hundreds of years? And most importantly, was this legend real or just a myth? The story of the seven sleepers is found in major religions such as Christianity and Islam. So, where does this legend come from? The origin of this legend is generally traced back to the Roman Empire era. One of the earliest narrators of the story of the seven sleepers was a Syriac bishop named Jacob. Jacob lived in the early 6th century, around the 480s and 500s AD. Jacob's recounting of the seven sleepers story is considered one of the oldest records of the legend in Christian tradition. During that time, the city of Ephesus was under the rule of a pagan society. According to a widespread rumor among the people, 7 young men who had converted to Christianity were held responsible for an act against the city's gods. The public demanded that these young men be sacrificed to the gods. However, the young men, deeply committed to their faith and their faithful dog Kitmir, escaped from the king's soldiers and took refuge in a hidden cave deep in the forest, barely visible from the outside. The soldiers tracked down the young men and found the cave, but when they entered, they saw no one inside. Consequently, to leave the young men to die there, they sealed the entrance of the cave with a wall. As the young men contemplated their fate, they fell into a deep sleep one by one. When they eventually woke up after a long time, it seemed as if time had stood still. While decades, or perhaps even centuries, had passed in the outside world, for them, it felt like only a few hours had gone by. The young men, upon awakening from their lengthy slumber, felt extremely hungry and decided to send one of them to the city to get some food. They struggled to open the cave's entrance, and, when the young man reached the city, he was met with a surprising sight. Ephesus had grown, evolved, and changed significantly. Most importantly, people now believed in Jesus the prophet, and Christianity had become widespread. The young man realized that the money he had in his hand was no longer valid. This revelation led them to understand that they hadn't spent just one night, but had actually slept in the cave for centuries. The people in the city were left in doubt and curiosity about this young man and his story. Eventually, the presence of the young men in the cave was discovered, and their story began to be told as a symbol of faith and miracles. The cave depicted in the story is located near the ancient city of Ephesus, in the city of Izmir, Turkey. It is referred to as the Cave of the Seven Sleepers, or the Cave of the Companions of the Cave. Other caves associated with the Seven Sleepers are also found in various parts of the world. For example, the Jordan Cave in Jordan is described as the place where the seven sleepers took refuge in some Arab sources. Another cave is located near Marseille in France, and it is considered the source of a version of the legend in Europe. Finally, in Turkey, there are caves in Tarsus, Afshin, and Lis that are said to be associated with the seven sleepers. In Christianity, the story of the seven sleepers is found in various sources and hagiographies, the life stories of saints. Particularly important is the account of a Syriac bishop named Jacob who lived in the early 6th century. Later on, this story gained a significant place in Christian literature and became a popular legend in medieval Europe. In the Christian version, the story typically revolves around young Christians in Ephesus who, during the period of Roman persecution, hide in a cave, fall into a deep sleep, and awaken centuries later. This story emphasizes resistance to faith and persecution, and highlights the power of miracles. In Islamic tradition, the seven sleepers are known as eshab-ı, the companions of the cave. The Quran narrates the story of eshab-ı in the cave surah. The event is described in the Quran as follows: "And you would think them awake while they were asleep. And we turned them to the right and to the left, with their dog stretching its forelegs at the entrance. If you had come upon them, you would have turned from them in flight and been filled with fear of them. And they remained in their cave for 300 years and exceeded by 9. Say, Allah is most knowing of how long they remained." In this surah, it is narrated how the young men fled persecution for their faith, slept in the cave for many years, and miraculously appeared awake when observed by others, creating a fearful impression on those who witnessed it. Additionally, as seen in the surah, there is mention of Kitmir, who accompanied the young men and is considered a symbol of loyalty. The story of the seven sleepers, also known as eshab-ı, holds a significant place in both Christian and Islamic traditions, and it has been interpreted and narrated in different ways in both religions. Stories and legends. One day, a shepherd grazing his sheep near an ancient ruin notices an unusual group of people approaching from a distance. This group, consisting of 7 to 8 individuals dressed in old and unconventional attire, approaches the shepherd with a dog by their side. Initially, the shepherd doesn't feel fear towards these strange visitors, but when he observes the profound respect his own dogs show towards the dog in the group, and even hears them whimpering, he becomes concerned. Gathering his courage, he asks them who they are and where they are headed. A man who appears to be the leader of the group responds with a mysterious expression, saying, "We have existed in these lands long before you were born, and with Allah's permission, we will continue to roam these lands long after your death." Hearing these words, the shepherd suddenly realizes the truth. Before him stands the 7 sleepers, who exist beyond the confines of time. It is interesting to note that a similar story exists in ancient India. Thousands of years ago, in ancient India, 7 sages living in an oppressive society faced injustice and hostility. In search of peace and understanding, accompanied by a faithful dog, they withdrew to a secluded cave. There, they decided to lead a life far removed from worldly affairs and kingdom. Thinking they had spent only one night in the cave, in reality, centuries had passed. When they opened their eyes, they realized that the outside world had completely changed, and their old societies no longer existed. The legend of the 7 sleepers is not only supported by religious texts and folklore, but also by archaeological discoveries. At the heart of the legend is a cave located near Ephesus. Excavations conducted in the cave have revealed remnants, tombs, and other religious structures dating back to the early Christian period. In particular, the tombs found within the cave and the inscriptions on them suggest that early Christians considered this cave a sacred place. The story of the 7 sleepers has left traces in places beyond Ephesus. For example, remnants found in a cave near the city of Marseille in France have also been associated with the legend of the 7 sleepers. Such archaeological findings in various parts of the world demonstrate the spread and influence of the legend. The story of the 7 sleepers stands as a timeless enigma, suggesting the possibility of entering a slumber that spans centuries. If such a phenomenon were indeed possible, what kind of world would await us upon awakening? The 7 sleepers encompass the mysteries of the past and the present, reminding us of the passage of time, the power of faith, and the unpredictability of life. Are there other secrets time itself may hold? Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.